You already know. It's your boy, Big Lou, tapping back in. One more again. Well, what it do with Big Lou, NFCR2. Baby. So I'm coming back with another one. This one here is this is regarding the Chicago a Chicago incident that happened, a deadly incident, fatal incident that occurred a few months back, and the tapes were the body cam tapes were released yesterday. um, First, I'm going to say what I seen in the video, my perspective on it, and then I'm going to read an article. So, mid-sized SUV gets stopped, okay, supposedly for seatbelt, okay, and they converse on the car, plainclothesmen, and they're given an order to roll the window down, roll the window down. He rolls the window down, then it rolls it back up, about halfway. And at some point, the cop on one side's got his gun on the top of the hood, and then the cop on the other side, on the driver's side, has his gun out as well. I didn't at no time hear them say police. Uh, Also, they were in plain clothes. They were tactical, some type of undercover unit, tactical unit or something like that. Um, there was a woman, I think it was a woman, police woman that was there, and it did say police on the back of the jacket, but that wasn't visible to the driver. The back, that was her back. Um, I don't understand it. They say they pulled him over for a seatbelt. Why were they drawing guns on him? Why did they have the guns out? And if they're not saying police, um, you well, hold on. Let me just say what happened. So within 41 seconds, 96 shots. Right? They killed him. His name was Dexter Reed. They kill him. He was like 22 years old, I think. I'll get back to this. Read the story. He was early 20s. He was a high school basketball player, maybe even a college basketball player, like at a Division II or Division III player, because they showed a lot of pictures of him in uniform. So he gets shot. They kill him. He gets shot and killed. So of course, they're gonna say police were fired upon, which he did fire at him first. He did fire at him first, but it's like, so hold on. So that's what happened. Okay. So the state's attorney's office for Cook County's involved. They got the whatever the name of the overseer of the police department, Chicago Police Department, they're involved. I'm pretty sure that internal affairs is involved, all that, right? They got to go through everything. As far as I know, none of the officers that I know of yet that were involved are on paid leave or anything. Maybe it might say something in the article. But the fact is, 96 rounds were shot in 41 seconds by multiple officers. There was like at least six officers there in a few different vehicles. They had like 3 or 4 different vehicles. And so that's what happened. This was in Chicago area. I don't know if it was in the city of Chicago or the surrounding outskirts, suburbs of Chicago. So my perspective is this: if you confront somebody, you're not telling them you're police. That's one of the main things they train these guys is you have to identify yourself, let them know that you're police officers. They supposedly pulled them over for a seatbelt. What was the reason to be so aggressive with having your pistols out? That would scare anybody. Like, why are you pulling your pistols out for? What did I do wrong? Oh, it comes to find out it was for a seatbelt. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell a story real quick. There was a time one time I had a knife in my back pocket, sticking in my back pocket, and I forgot about it. And the police happened to show up for a call, and I happened to just open the door, and they were right there. Boom, right? So I shut the door back and went back inside, and they ended up opening the door, and they already had, they had their guns already drawn, and they were like, "What do you got that? What's in your back pocket?" And I turned my side to kind of look, and I seen the knife, and I grabbed it, only to put it on the little the entertainment center. But just imagine if I would have been somewhere else, like Chicago or LAPD or something, they would have shot my ass quick. Luckily for me, they did it. You know what I'm saying? But that would have been enough reason for them to do it. Even though I didn't lunge at them, I didn't make any motions towards them. They still had a good, 8 feet in between me and them. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's what they do, and they'll throw it off, and there ain't no such thing as hitting somebody, popping somebody in their legs to make them drop. There's none of that. It's shoot to kill, basically lethal shots, and unfortunately that's how they're trained. But 96 shots in 41 seconds. Like I said, I don't understand why the guns were drawn out immediately. One, like I said, the cop on the passenger side had his gun on top of the hood where the window's at, showing his gun, and then the one on the driver's side ended up pulling his pistol out. So this youngster Derek Reed at some point felt threatened like crazy, and he pulled his pistol out and shot. And that's how it all started. This all was for a seatbelt. And then I heard his sister, explain that she seen all the cops, all the noise. She heard the shot. I think she said she even heard the shots, but she heard for sure the ambulance, the fire trucks, the cops, sirens, everything going by, and she never knew that it was for her brother. She found that out later. Um, there, it's just, and then like, why is the tactical unit making traffic stops? That's what our beat cops are for. That's what our traffic cops are for, to make those stops. Why are they stopping? Why is a tactical unit, quote unquote, gang unit or undercover unit, why are they making traffic stops? Especially if they don't even know who's driving the car. Like, now, if it's a subject they know well, they know a ton of stuff about, and they're always in the mix with things, that's one thing. But even then, they go too far a lot of times. There's no excuse there's no excuse if you're only pulling somebody over for a seatbelt. What is the purpose of pulling the guns out? What is your guns out for? And you see it a lot now where the cops are like, they're stopping you for traffic or something, and they got their hand on a gun already. It's very threatening to somebody, especially if they never been around that stuff before. Like, it can really shake them up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just calling it how I see people react. You know what I mean? And then on the other hand, you'll have guys that won't be scared until even being shot at, they won't be scared because they've been around it so much and had probably those type of situations before. So, sure, they're not going to just stand there. They're going to get out of the way because they know that if possibly they get hit, they could die. But you know what I'm saying? But so let me read this article, and then I'm going to close out this video. So this is Chicago ABC. ABC 7. Chicago police tactical teams again under scrutiny after fatal shooting of Dexter Reed. Police reform expert argue units have long history of abuse in Chicago, have not been effective in fighting crime. See, Chicago police tactical teams are once again under scrutiny after deadly Dexter Reed shooting. COPA continues to investigating the incident. Okay, Chicago WLS. The topic of tactical teams is once again being discussed after the recent Chicago police shooting death of 26-year-old Dexter Reed. Okay, so I was off by 3-4 years. Tactical teams have a long history in Chicago. The plainclothes officers often police in high crime areas. ABC 7 Chicago, never mind, excuse me. They are often called jump out boys, the cowboys. They jump out of the car aggressively, not trained in de-escalation, said Craig Futterman with University of Chicago Law. Police reform experts argue the units have a long history of abuse in Chicago and have not been effective in fighting crime. The Chicago Civilian Office of Police Accountability said part of its investigation should include the role of the unit on March 21st. So this was just a few weeks ago. Reed, 26, was killed by Chicago police on March 21st during a traffic stop that ended with dozens of bullets fired and a police officer injured. COPA released body cam video Tuesday of the deadly police shooting last month in Garland Park. If there are things about the way that this tactical unit was operating that may be indicative of a wider issue with the tactical units in general, COPA Chief Administrator Andrea Kirsten said. The way tactical units operate has been a source of controversy in Chicago for years. Many question the role of tactical unit and how a seatbelt stop turned deadly so quickly. The March 21st incident produced 96 shots fired from 4 tactical officers, spurring Kirsten to send a memo 2 weeks ago to Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling, suggesting the officers involved be stripped of their police powers. So there goes a little bit what I was saying earlier, if they were on leave, paid leave, or just leave, or suspension, or We have the ability to make sort of intermediate recommendations while the investigation is pending, Kirsten said. COPA is questioning validity of the stop over a seatbelt violation, as Reed's vehicle had dark tinted windows. Kirsten said within seconds of the stop, Reed fired first after he refused police commands to roll down his window and get out of his SUV. Well, when I seen the video, I didn't hear them say get out. I heard him say roll down the window, and he had the window down, and then he rolled it about halfway up. And then they were trying to open the doors. They kept trying to open the doors. How many shots Reed fired is still being investigated. There's additional ballistic evidence that was recovered from inside his vehicle, but we have to await further testing to confirm, Kirsten said. And law enforcement experts say despite the amount of bullets that flew from the officers' guns, they have the legal right to fire back. There are rounds coming out of that car, and they really work themselves back to a position of cover. They can't just stand there on the street. They're justified in doing so, former Aurora Police Commander Rick Robertson said. With all the evidence gathered by COPA, it is up to the Cook County State's Attorney to determine if the officers were using excessive force. Prosecutors plan to interview the officers involved in the deadly shooting later this week. Reed's brother, 24-year-old Julius Reed, was arrested around 6:44 p.m. Tuesday night as protests erupted outside the Harrison District Police Station at 3151 West Harrison Street, according to an arrest. So apparently they were protesting. Details of the arrest are sparse, but Julius Reed was unarmed and resisted arrest, according to the report. Reed was charged with battery and 2 counts of resisting arrest, all misdemeanors, according to the arrest report. How are you charged with 2 counts of resisting arrest? How does that work? Well, because 2 cops were trying to grab you, so now it's resisting arrest by 2. So if 3 cops come, it's 3 charges of resisting arrest. That's that bogus bullshit. This young man just lost his brother, and I know the plan was to peacefully protest. Straught told the Chicago Sun-Times they want justice for their brother. The Tuesday protest was marked by clashes between protesters and police, a heckler shouting he shot a police officer, and 1 person hospitalized during the altercation. After he was taken into custody, activist groups called for Reed's release on social media, urging people to call Chicago police. So that's where we're at here. I mean, the COPA requested that those cops be relieved of their police powers. So I guess that means there's their badge and their gun upon the completion of the investigation, I guess, But I mean, the fact is he did shoot first. Now if they didn't identify themselves as police officers and they're plainclothesmen, so I don't know if they had their badge hanging here or what, but if those things weren't done correctly, wasn't showing their badge, and they weren't saying that they were police, and you're just ordering some guy and you got guns out already when it's supposedly for a seatbelt stop. I mean, that's all bad right there. I mean, you would think the guy would be obviously he felt some type of threat. That's why he shot. I don't think he would have shot. I mean, I don't really know for sure. I'm just saying what I think, my perspective. I could be totally wrong, but it is what it is, right? I mean, he's gone. This is what happened. They got to figure out something with the Chicago PD, because it said clearly in that article that they've had numerous problems over many years. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of police departments and sheriff's departments like that where they've had a ton of problems, ton of issues, and it seems like they can't get it together no matter who's in leadership there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the feds got to step in and oversee it, like with Oakland PD. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's happened in Chicago before too. Philadelphia, I think too, maybe, but I know for sure Oakland. You know what I mean? So I think LA too at one time. So with that being said, that's just a little something. I wanted to drop another video tonight. I might have another 1 or 2 more dropping tonight. Probably by the late early morning, meaning like midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. So with that being said, Big Lou, tapping out.